Awaken your spirit with a heavenly meditation of gratitude and abundance for 40 divine days. In the quaint village of Saint-Essend, nestled like a secret in the English countryside, there lived a devoted widow named Margaret. As summer's relentless drought gripped the land, Margaret's spirit trembled under the weight of despair. Years spent leading her parish's prayer group felt like an empty well, her unwavering faith threatened by despair. Yet, in her heart, the flicker of hope still lingered. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, she gathered with her friends in the chapel. The scent of freshly burned candles filled the air, mingling with hushed prayers and soft whispers. In that sacred space, she closed her eyes, breathing deeply, and a warmth enveloped her. Was it a divine hug? It felt as though heaven kissed her spirit. As she meditated on each blessing, memories of her late husband flooded her mind, their love shining brighter than any star. This moment felt extraordinary, almost surreal, as if the very walls of the chapel sang with the echoes of divine grace. The drought pressed heavily upon them, a dark shadow creeping into the hearts of the villagers. Days turned into weeks without rain, and doubt gnawed at the edges of Margaret's soul. But one fateful night, during a vulnerable moment of prayer, the flickering candlelight around her dimmed and then blazed anew. In that luminous glow, a voice resonated within her, whispering a message of unity and abundance. Gather your community for 40 days of gratitude, it beckoned. In thanks, seek His presence, and you shall witness miracles unfold. Margaret's heart raced, excitement intertwining with uncertainty. Could she rally the villagers? Summoning her strength, she spread the word. The reactions varied, some listened with intrigue, while others scoffed at the idea of prayer over practical solutions. Among them, a proud farmer shouted, "Where is your faith when the sun scorches the earth?" But Margaret remained resolute. With each new face she saw, her enthusiasm blossomed. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turned into an arduous trial as the drought raged on. Among the faithful, a grave health crisis abruptly struck one of their own, sending waves of despair crashing against their fragile faith. Yet Margaret stood tall amidst the storm, her heart alight with a fierce prayer. Each gathering was a rallying cry for collective remembrance of past miracles, children healed, prayers answered when hope seemed lost. As the 40-day challenge trudged on, tensions amongst the villagers grew. Just when Margaret began to doubt herself, the skies opened in a heavenly downpour. Laughter erupted, washing away the spirits of despair. The harvest would soon be plentiful again. But as joy spread like a soothing balm, questions clouded Margaret's heart. Was it truly the fruit of their prayers, or just chance? She gazed out over the vibrant fields, the fruits of labor visible yet underscored by uncertainty. The transformations around her shone brightly, yet upon her spirit hovered doubts. How could such abundance hold its ground? A fog of questions swept through her soul. Was faith conditional, or was this mere gratitude the key to uncovering their true potential? Margaret stood in the shimmering light of possibility, eager yet anxious, eager to uncover what divine answers awaited on the horizon. Margaret awoke the next morning with the warmth of the sun streaming through the chapel's stained glass windows. Colors danced upon the floor like dreams given life. The sweet scent of blooming flowers wafted through the open door, mingling with the remnants of last night's miraculous rainfall. Her heart sang, was this the beginning of a new chapter, a divine promise fulfilled? Yet, the soft voice of uncertainty lingered. Was the rain simply luck, or were they truly being rewarded for their devotion? As she prepared for the day, Margaret felt the pulse of possibility beating like a drum in her chest. The community had gathered for the 40 days, but the real test was still upon them. Morning broke with the villagers sharing in the joyous news. The crops were visibly perking up, heads poking through the dark, rich earth as if reawakening to life. At breakfast, a sense of bond emerged among the villagers that had been missing for so long. They exchanged smiles, laughter, and stories, their hearts harmonizing like a well-composed melody. Margaret decided to host a special gathering that evening to facilitate this awakening. She invited not just those who had joined their challenge but also the skeptics, the ones still clouded in doubt. "Let us come together, as he has called us," she proclaimed with sturdy conviction. The whispers began to spread through the village. Maybe there was something substantial to this prayer business after all. As twilight descended, the chapel filled with familiar faces, both eager and wary. Candles flicked to life, their golden glow symbolizing the flickering flames of hope rekindled within each heart. Margaret stood before them, her spirit buoyed by their presence. "Tonight, let us share our vision. What have we directly witnessed? How impactful has this journey of gratitude truly been?" One by one, they began to share their stories. Old Mr. Peters spoke of the warmth he felt as his ailing back eased through the power of prayer. Young Rosa shared how her family's relationship had mended, filled with compassion and understanding amid the pressures of dwindling resources. The stories wrapped around the room, creating a sacred tapestry painted by divine love. Margaret felt her soul lift with each testimony, her doubts beginning to dissolve like morning mist. But still, questions loomed large around her heart. How could they harness this wave of gratitude and transform it into lasting faith? The evening wore on, and as they concluded in heartfelt prayer, a deep sense of unity bound them together. As they emerged into the night, a sudden chill drew Margaret's attention to the sky. There, in the darkness, was a single star that shone brighter than any other. She felt it beckon to her, a magnetic pull toward something greater. She whispered a prayer of gratitude for the night, for her friends, and for the love that enveloped their village this evening. But suddenly, a thought struck her, potent and unyielding. What if this was merely the beginning of something far greater than they could imagine? Could a mere 40 days of gratitude open the door to a transformation that would echo through generations? That thought lingered heavy upon her heart as she returned home, guiding her weary body to rest. The moon bathed the fields in silver, and Margaret let her spirit rejoice in the wonders yet to be revealed. What divine mysteries lay ahead, waiting to unfold? Margaret awoke early the next morning, the sun already stretching its golden fingers across the sky. She felt renewed, lighter, as if a holy breath had filled her lungs. A soft knock at her door broke the stillness, pulling her from her blissful reverie. It was Joshua, a kind-hearted neighbor, his face glowing with hope. "Margaret, you must come and see," he urged, excitement bubbling in his voice. "The fields, they're bursting with life." She followed him outside, the cool morning air wrapping around her. The sight that greeted her made her heart leap. Each plant stood triumphantly, their vibrant greens popping against the earth, too bright to ignore. A testament to faith blooming swiftly in response to their prayers. As they walked through the rows, Margaret noticed the villagers gathering, their faces painted with awe and reverence. There was a current among them, a collective energy infused with divine promise. Joshua turned to her, eyes sparkling. "Isn't it incredible how our gratitude has nourished the soil? It's as if creation itself rejoiced." "People are beginning to believe, Margaret." Her heart swelled. There was something profound in his words. They were witnessing not just the revival of crops but the very spirit of the village, rekindling itself in unity. Perhaps prayer had unlocked a shimmering doorway of abundance where doubt once loomed large. As the day unfolded, softly punctuated with laughter and communal work, Margaret sensed a shift. The villagers began sharing their small victories with joyful abandon, the shimmer of healing, the warmth of rekindled friendships, the unexpected supplies arriving for the community kitchen. Each story was a pebble dropped into a pond, sending ripples of faith that lapped at the shore of skepticism. That evening, Margaret arranged for another gathering, excitedly anticipating the outpouring of testimony. They filled the chapel, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. As she welcomed them, she encouraged a moment of silent reflection, urging each to feel the divine gratitude alive within. Tears shimmered in the eyes of many as they opened their hearts. One by one, they spoke how lonely lives transformed into connections, how gratitude turned hardship into blessings. "Every day, I've been awed by the little things I once overlooked," said Anna, an elder, her voice trembling. "Yesterday, a butterfly landed on my window just as I whispered, 'Thank you.' It felt as if God smiled through that gentle creature. The chapel filled with murmurs of agreement, faces brightening as stories cascaded like a waterfall. As the evening drew to a close, Margaret captured the moment with a prayer of deep fervor, asking that their journey continue to blossom and bear fruit. Afterward, standing outside, she looked up at the night sky, now dotted with stars shimmering like diamonds scattered across velvet. The weight of her heart had shifted entirely. With each prayer, each act of gratitude, they weren't just counting days, they were weaving together a fabric of faith that stretched beyond their village boundaries. As peaceful slumber claimed her once again, a tantalizing thought lingered. Could their journey lead to something far more transformative than they ever envisioned? What if their shared experiences had nudged them toward an even deeper relationship with the divine? The whispers of the universe thrummed softly around her, drawing her closer into a mystery wrapped in the embrace of hope. What wonders would they uncover as they ventured deeper into their practices of gratitude? Margaret awoke the next morning to find the world draped in a soft mist. The dew-kissed grass sparkled under the waking sun, and she felt a gentle pull in her heart, an invitation to discover more. This village, once burdened with despair, now thrummed with joy. She stepped outside, taking in the fresh scent of earth and growth, and she smiled. Joshua's laughter rang lightly through the air as he welcomed her. "Today is special, Margaret. The harvest festival is upon us," he exclaimed, his eyes shining bright with excitement. "A festival." The words rang like a bell in her heart. It was a celebration, a collective expression of gratitude for all the blessings that had begun to flow into their lives. She felt the ripple of anticipation spread through her as she joined him to help the gathering. Villagers moved with purpose, decorating stalls with flowers and bright fabrics, each one a testament of gratitude for the gifts they had received. As the sun climbed higher, Margaret found herself drawn to the center of the village square. She stood, surrounded by her friends, each face radiant with joy. This place was alive, pulsing with energy rooted in their faith. Children laughed, weaving in and out of games, their joy a reflection of the spirit rekindled among the adults. "Margaret," called Anna, waving her over. "Come help us with the prayer circle. We want to encircle the village with our thanks." The warmth that filled her heart resonated deep. She joined the circle, hands clasped with others. They spoke words of gratitude, each one building like a brick, forming a strong wall of thankfulness against doubt and fear. "Thank you for the warmth of each sunrise," one voice spoke, followed by another. "Thank you for the laughter of our children." The prayers poured out, rising and dancing in the air, reaching toward heaven. The spirit among them was undeniable. Each word stitched together hearts, creating a tapestry of love and gratitude. In a moment, Margaret could feel something shift around them, a divine softening, like the gentle breath of the Almighty, as though he were listening, savoring their joy. Suddenly, a silence settled, and the congregation exchanged glances filled with wonder. The air shimmered, and the sun pierced through the clouds with a medley of colors, painting the sky. It was a moment kinked in eternity, causing hearts to skip and sigh. "What if this is just the beginning?" Margaret whispered, not quite realizing she spoke aloud. Haunting questions danced among them, shimmering like atmospheric magic. Maybe our gratitude could ripple even wider, to other villages? To the whole land? A voice broke through, filled with expectancy. "Think of the lives we could touch," another chimed in, their ideas sparkled as brightly as the sunlit dew around them. The moment was pregnant with possibility and purpose, whispering for them to embrace a greater journey. Could they truly carry their light beyond their borders? Margaret felt the rush of destiny unfurling before her. It was as if God was inviting them into a grand adventure, one marked by the steps of faith they were willing to make. As the festival unfolded with laughter and songs, each moment painted their hearts with deeper colors of divine grace. They pondered the next chapter. What if this shared journey of gratitude could ignite a movement? The sun now hung high, bathing them in warmth and hope, awakening them to the promise lingering just beyond their village gates. What awaited them as they prepared to step beyond familiar paths, ready to embrace the uncharted, guided by the mysterious hand of heaven? The festival swirled around Margaret as she felt the excitement electrifying the air. Laughter echoed, children danced, and the scent of fresh bread mixed with earthy spices tickled her senses. It was more than just a celebration, it was a resurrection of hope, a vivid reminder of the divine blessings bestowed upon them in their journey of faith. Can you feel it? Joshua leaned closer, his voice almost merging with the melodies surrounding them. It's like a heartbeat in the very fabric of our village. Margaret nodded, her own pulse quickening with the thrill of possibility. Yet, as the laughter enveloped her, a quiet tug of something deeper pulled at her heart, an urgency to act. What should we do next? She thought, her heart racing with the weight of the unanswered question. Why not share what we've gathered here? Anna suggested, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. We can host a gathering beyond the village, invite others, share stories of transformation. Margaret's heart warmed at the idea. Yes. We could set the stage for a blessing not just for us, but for everyone who needs it. A gathering of nations. As echoes of agreement swelled, a sense of clarity pierced through the hum of celebration. Each person's face glowed with renewed courage, lit up by the flame of shared purpose. In that moment, they were not just villagers, they were vessels of light, called to spread the harvest of gratitude, ready to ignite a spiritual revival that could ripple far beyond their borders. The sun settled into a cozy embrace with the horizon, casting long shadows as they began to make plans. We'll need to prepare, Joshua declared. We should reach out to neighboring villages and gather support. We'll create a place of healing and hope. We'll share our prayers, our gratitude. Let us not forget our stories, Margaret added, her voice steady yet brimming with excitement. We must tell them how our hearts were transformed. Our journey can inspire others. It's an invitation for all to awaken. And so they began, fueled by a collective spirit ignited within them. They formed teams, some spreading the news, while others worked the preparations. Laughter danced alongside determination, as each task unfolded like petals of a flower eager to bloom. The night deepened, yet light poured forth from their hearts as they spoke encouragement and love into one another, but beneath the surface of their excitement lingered an unspoken challenge. Questions hovered in the air: would they be welcomed? Would their stories resonate beyond familiar faces? What if the invitation fell on uninterested ears? With each heartbeat, uncertainty battled against their fervent hope. As Margaret closed her eyes to pray, she felt the looming pressure wrapping around her. Lord, she whispered, give us courage. Help us to embrace the unknown with trust. Help us to see your vision for this gathering. In that sacred silence, a stillness filled the space around her, almost tangible. She opened her eyes to witness the villagers gathered together, a mosaic of shared faith. Perhaps, she thought, this endeavor was not just about them, it was a chance for others to experience the love and transformation they had felt. Light breaking through the darkness. When morning light broke, Margaret was restless. The day shimmered with unseen promises. She moved through the village, a flicker of excitement coursing through her veins, thankful for the ground beneath her feet, longing for the path ahead, and yet, a whisper of divine mystery brushed against her spirit. What if there is a greater purpose behind this gathering? Her heart quickened, a spark igniting within her. Was there more to this journey than they had anticipated? What if God had a surprise in store, one that would stretch their faith beyond what they could comprehend? With each passing moment, anticipation bloomed in her heart as they prepared to step beyond what they knew. The horizon glowed with the promise of something magnificent. What awaited them as they took this leap of faith into the unknown? The sun stretched higher, illuminating the village in a golden hue. Margaret felt the warmth wrap around her like a gentle embrace. As she walked through the busy lanes, all around her the villagers were caught up in vibrant energy, their voices mixing like an uplifting chorus. She spotted Anna painting colorful banners adorned with words of hope and unity. These will welcome everyone, Anna beamed, her eyes sparkling with zeal. They'll feel the love as soon as they arrive. Margaret smiled, but the feeling of purpose pulled at her. Anna, what about the stories? What if we asked everyone to share their tales of transformation? Real stories have power. Anna paused, her paintbrush hovering mid-air. You're right, Margaret. The essence of our journey needs to be heard. We should gather everyone around the central fire when the sun sets. Her heart danced at the notion. The fire would symbolize not just warmth but the presence of the Holy Spirit uniting them. Meanwhile, Joshua was busy encouraging others to join their efforts. He approached Margaret, his face lit with enthusiasm. "I've spoken with Elder Samuel. He is willing to share his wisdom and prayers. It'll resonate deeply, don't you think?" Margaret nodded, her heart swelling. It was as if every person, every conversation, was adding bricks to a foundation of faith that would support their gathering. But a nagging doubt flickered at the edge of her mind. Will this be enough? Will the people come? As the day melted into twilight, she stood at the village square, watching her friends work tirelessly. Thoughts tumbled in her spirit, echoing whispers of doubt. Yet the love and devotion wrapped around her like a warm blanket. "Lord," she prayed softly, "I surrender these fears to you. Let your will unfold in ways that astonish us." With the sun dipping below the horizon, the villagers gathered under the stars, a sea of hopeful faces illuminated by the crackling fire. Margaret stood before them, her heart racing. She gazed out and noticed how the flickering flames danced, seemingly in response to their anticipation. "Tonight," she began, her voice trembling with excitement, "we will share our stories. Stories of grace, redemption, and the strength of faith. This is not just our gathering, it is a beacon for anyone wishing to see the light in their own lives." Applause erupted around her, igniting a sense of unity that washed over the gathering. People stepped forward, one by one, ready to share their experiences. Laughter intermingled with tears, revealing the raw beauty of faith's journey. As stories wove together that night, Margaret felt the presence of something greater enveloping them. A palpable energy hummed in the air, and she knew a divine shift was occurring. "This is it, Lord," she thought, her heart aflame. "This is what you intended." But then, as her spirit soared, a breeze stirred the flames higher and whispered through the branches of the trees around them. "What if our stories are just the beginning?" A hush fell over the crowd. Each person felt it, the longing for more. Would their shared light reach the far corners of the land? Would others feel the pull of healing love as they had? With the fire crackling and the stars shimmering, Margaret felt the weight of the unknown press gently upon her. What more has God chosen for us? She pondered, eyes wide with anticipation. In that moment, the air shimmered with possibility. So much lay ahead, waiting to be revealed. And as she looked around at her fellow villagers, a sense of awe washed over her. They were weaving a tapestry of faith, and the threads had only just begun to intertwine in a grand design. What miraculous journey would unfold now that they had taken their first steps? The night deepened, cloaking the village in a velvety embrace beneath the starlit sky. The flicker of the fire became the heart of their gathering, its warmth not merely physical but spiritual, inviting each soul to lean in closer, to listen intently. Margaret felt the weight of anticipation build as she turned to Elder Samuel. The wise man, cloaked in humble robes, stood with a knowing smile. His presence brought quiet authority, a testament to years spent seeking God's guidance through prayer and introspection. "May I share something?" he asked, and his voice resonated like a bell, calling for attention. The night breathed in as everyone nodded in reverence, their eyes gleaming with eagerness. Elder Samuel shared a story about his youth, a time when doubt chased him like a shadow. "I had lost my way," he confessed, drifting through life without purpose. "It was only through the kindness of strangers, people who shared their own experiences, that I found hope again. Their words were lanterns in my darkness." His eyes twinkled as he spoke of love overcoming fear, of faith rising like a dawn over the most daunting nights. As he finished, the fire crackled louder, as if echoing the heartbeat of the collective spirit surrounding them. Margaret felt a swell of gratitude. She realized that each shared story was a potent vessel of connection, weaving everyone closer together. One by one, villagers began to share their personal transformations. A young woman spoke of losing everything and finding strength in prayer. A fragile voice transformed into a powerful declaration of beauty in suffering. An elderly man recounted his journey of sickness that revealed newfound purpose in serving others, even in his weakness. Their stories painted a tapestry greater than any single thread, a masterpiece formed of struggle, redemption, and unwavering faith. Tears mingled with laughter and gasps of awe. Each moment held the weight of divine presence, each word spoken a testament that resonated in the hearts of all. Margaret could almost see the threads twinkling, interlacing narratives that bled into the very fabric of their community. But as the fire continued to burn bright, Margaret noticed a figure skimming the edge of their gathering. Jonas, a quiet man known for his skepticism, stood apart. She invited him to share. Would he dare to speak? He hesitated, a shadow clouding his features. Margaret reached out, sensing a deeper truth within him. Your journey matters too, Jonas, she encouraged gently. After a stillness that felt like ages, he stepped forward, his voice barely a whisper. I've always questioned faith. I see pain, and I find it hard to believe. His voice wavered, vulnerability breaking through his usual armor. As he spoke, something shifted in the air. The crowd inhaled sharply, drawn into the rawness of his struggle. From the edge of doubt emerged a quest for understanding that echoed in the hearts of many. Suddenly, one by one, others began to nod, sharing their own doubts and fears, each raw confession adding weight to the circle. There was freedom in their sharing, a connection built not just in joy but in heartache too. Margaret could feel the Holy Spirit moving amidst them, weaving a deeper understanding. Here, hope thrived not only in stories of triumph but also in the honest admission of uncertainty. As Jonas finished, a deep stillness enveloped them, and Margaret realized they were all ready to embrace the unknown together. What if these doubts are the very seeds which blossom into deeper faith? She thought. The fire crackled again, suddenly sending sparks swirling into the cool night sky, like prayers lifted to heaven. A profound awe filled her heart. O Lord, has this night shown us that our journey is filled with both light and shadow? Could it be that even our doubts are precious to you? As the village joined in a collective sigh of wonder, the air hummed with potential. Each villager reflected on their path, realizing they were not alone in their quest for answers, their longing palpable. What awaits us now? They murmured softly, eyes shimmering with newfound resolve. And as Margaret looked around at their hopeful faces, another question lingered in the night air, whispering through the trees. What magnificent discoveries might God unfold for those willing to walk in faith despite the shadows? The fire crackled softly as a blanket of silence enveloped the gathering. Each soul was lost in their thoughts, reflecting on the vulnerability shared moments ago. Margaret scanned the faces illuminated by flickering light, feeling a stir of expectation. The air was thick with connection and hope. Then, as if ignited by divine urging, a voice rang out, breaking the stillness. It was Esther, her hands trembling slightly as she spoke. This moment reminds me of my mother. In her darkest days, she always found light in the smallest things. She used to say, gratitude is the bridge from despair to joy. Her voice wavered, but there was strength behind her words. The villagers leaned in, drawn into her narrative. When we lost everything, she gathered us around the table with only a loaf of bread. She made us take turns sharing what we were thankful for. In those moments, she taught us to see beyond our present struggles. She made us feel the abundance in a simple meal. Margaret felt her heart swell, acknowledging the transformative power of gratitude. She noticed others nodding, a gentle shift taking place. The spirit of remembrance lingered. It was a reminder that in even the smallest acts of thankfulness, profound healing could occur. I've carried that lesson with me, Esther continued, her eyes glimmering with tears now reflecting the firelight. Every day, I write 3 things I'm thankful for. It could be the sunrise or a smile from a stranger. Those small reminders have been my anchors. Heavy sighs followed, as many reflected on their own unrecognized blessings. The wisdom of Esther's words hung in the air. Each one saw how they had often succumbed to their burdens, forgetting to count the goodness in their lives. There was a stirring, an awakening, rippling through the crowd as fresh realizations emerged. Jonas gazed at her, the skepticism replaced by a flicker of curiosity. How can you remain grateful? He asked, voice steady now. What if the hardships overshadow the blessings? There was an honesty in his question, every villager felt it, resonating deeply in their hearts. Esther smiled gently. The challenges are real, Jonas. But it's through gratitude we gain perspective. It opens our eyes to see how God moves even in our mess. When we find one small thing to celebrate, we can behold God's hand even in the darkest times. A hush fell, grounding them all in thought. A sense of unity pulsed, as they collectively mulled over what Esther had shared. Margaret could almost hear the heartbeats of everyone synchronized in the quiet night, a fellowship of souls yearning for divine light amid their struggles. "Let us transform our shadows into symbols of strength," Elder Samuel proposed. His voice was a calming balm, grounding their spirit. "What if we embark on a journey of gratitude? For 40 days, we could each find something to thank God for, to share with one another." Excitement bubbled up, like the flicker of the flames dancing wildly in agreement. One by one, villagers began pledging to this new journey, ready to lift their hearts towards heaven. Margaret felt her spirit ignite. She remembered the vibrant letters she had once seen pinned on the church wall, an array of thankfulness dispersed between the faithful. "How about we journal our experiences?" she suggested, warm enthusiasm flooding her. "We can gather to share our discoveries each week. Let us document our transformations, reflecting on how our hearts mold in response to gratitude." The fire crackled again, sparks shooting into the sky like prayers being lifted. A joyous chatter filled the air as villagers embraced this new idea, but beneath the exchange of excitement, an undercurrent of unease lingered, as if a shadow was whispering doubts, testing their resolve. Margaret pondered as she looked at Jonas, whose eyes revealed a deep-seated yearning for resolution. "Will thanking God truly illuminate the dark paths we tread?" she asked herself. With the fire's warm glow embracing them, the night was ripe with potential and promise. The question danced in the night air, beckoning everyone forward. How might our lives change when we intentionally seek gratitude, even in our most challenging moments? The night progressed, and the fire kept its dance, illuminating the faces of those gathered. Each villager, in their own heart, felt a hum of anticipation, a stirring of something greater than themselves. Margaret could see it, a flicker of hope lighting in their eyes. "Are we really ready for this journey?" she mused aloud. The question lingered like the smoky scent wafting through the air, wafting to their minds. Jonas, ever thoughtful, spoke again. "It's easier said than done to find gratitude when life feels heavy." His voice carried a hint of doubt, yet it resonated with honesty, inviting a deeper exploration. Esther turned to him, her eyes bright with understanding. "It's not about denying the weight of our burdens, Jonas. It's embracing them while holding tight to the joys, no matter how small." She gestured toward the fire, illuminating her face with golden light. "Think of it as a balance. Like this fire, it's beautiful and warm, but it also needs fuel. Our gratitude is that fuel." The villagers nodded in agreement, their expressions shifting from skepticism to contemplation. Margaret felt a swell of unity. They were moving together, toward something sacred. "Let us share what each of us is thankful for right now," suggested Elder Samuel. "Let us set the tone for our journey." A sense of vulnerability washed over the group, but the warmth of the fire inspired them. One by one, they began to speak. "I'm thankful for this community," said Ruth, her voice steady, filled with sincerity. "In times of loneliness, it keeps my heart warm." "I'm grateful for my children," chimed in Thomas, his voice thick with emotion. "They remind me how beautiful life can be, even when it's chaotic." As they shared their thoughts, a lightness spread throughout the gathering. The burdens, seemingly insurmountable a moment ago, began to fade in the presence of shared gratitude. The fire crackled warmly, mirroring their collective spirit. Margaret couldn't help but join in. "Today, I'm thankful for this moment, the laughter, the connection. It's in gatherings like this that I feel God's spirit so vividly." Each declaration wove a stronger thread in the fabric of their community. Laughter, tears, and heartfelt stories unfolded, and Margaret noticed doubts about their journey gradually gave way to a hopeful desire. The very air around them seemed to shift, infused with a sense of divine purpose. "What if," she ventured softly, "we allowed this practice of gratitude to blossom beyond 40 days? Jonas's brow furrowed. "How? With life's burdens, wouldn't that be impossibly difficult?" Esther interjected, "But isn't that the point? To allow gratitude to reshape us? Just as a seed must push through the earth to bloom, we too can grow from our trials." Margaret's heart swelled with anticipation. Could it truly be that easy? Could one small change ignite a revolution within their lives? As they continued to share, the fire blazed brighter, casting dynamic shadows that danced alongside their expressions of faith. A transformation began. They were no longer simply sharing words but weaving a tapestry of intention and desire for renewal. The night air wrapped around them, crisp and filled with possibilities. Would they truly commit to this path of gratitude, opening their hearts to the wonders of God's grace even in the unseen? Margaret looked around, feeling an undeniable energy stirring within her. It felt sacred. It felt powerful. Outside, stars twinkled like promises against the deepening blue. The feeling hovered, a gentle reminder of the magnificent journey ahead. But as their thoughts turned back to the challenges waiting outside this sacred moment, Margaret felt a flicker of unease. Would they be able to keep their resolve in the face of life's trials? Can we hold fast to gratitude even when the storm clouds gather? She wondered softly. The answers, she realized, were waiting to be unfolded. The true journey was just beginning. As morning light broke over Saint-Denis End, the village resonated with a promise. Margaret awoke anew, filled with excitement and gratitude for what lay ahead. She stepped outside, fully embraced by the fresh air, invigorated by the dewy kiss of a new day. The warmth of the sun sparked hope in her heart, illuminating her purpose. Today, they would gather others not just within their village but across neighboring lands to share the miracles that had blossomed in their hearts. The memory of laughter and stories from the night before encouraged her spirits, knowing there was power in their unity. As she prepared, Margaret felt a gentle nudge, nudging her toward deeper faith. She recalled Jonas's unease, the vulnerability that woke amid their storytelling. What if we carried this light beyond? She considered. What if our voices reached those still mired in doubt? Excitement coursed through her like a rushing river, the idea flourishing and enveloping her. The villagers heard her call, gently stirring from their own reflections. A gathering of nations, she declared, eyes wide with the glow of revelation. Come, let us share our journey of gratitude with those around us. Let us invite them to witness the miracles that have taken root in our midst. As whispers and murmurs rippled through the crowd, uncertainty began to ebb. Inspired by the stories shared previously, hands lifted in agreement. Elder Samuel stepped forward, his presence grounding and warm. This is indeed our moment, dear friends, he said, a tender smile breaking through his wise demeanor. Together, let us brandish our testimonies like beacons calling others forth into faith. Days spun into a flurry of preparation. They crafted invitations, adorned with vibrant colors, adorned with symbols of gratitude and hope. Villagers rallied around each other, embracing their roles with zeal, decorating the gathering space, producing fresh bread and fruits to share, lighting candles that sparkled against twilight. The sun began to set as people gathered, filling the square with energy and anticipation. Margaret stood near the front, her heart drumming as each new face arrived. Skeptics brushed shoulders with believers, uncertainty blended with aspirations. Margaret welcomed them warmly, her voice steady yet vibrant. Welcome, beloved friends. We have come to share the light of our gratitude with you today. In these 40 days, we've discovered the power woven into our thankfulness, a power that transforms not just our hearts but our very existence. The crowd was still, eyes shimmering softly as they absorbed her words. In that sacred moment, the whispers of hope circled the gathering. One by one, villagers shared their testimonies, the warmth of healing that filled their homes, the rekindling of broken relationships, and the wonder of unexpected provisions. Each moment breathed life into their transformation, each soul binding them closer together. Jonas stood slowly, stepping forward with trembling uncertainty. The crowd hushed, feeling the weight of his honesty. I've wrestled with doubt, he admitted, but I realize that in seeking gratitude, I'm opening my heart to possibilities I never believed existed. Urging deeper, he continued, perhaps it's not about answering all my questions, but allowing wonder to unfold. The murmurs of encouragement bloomed, each voice echoing through the night like a ripple across water. That's right. One villager called out. Let us embrace the questions. Let us walk forward together. Laughter danced in the air, mingling with newfound resolve. Margaret felt the warm embrace of the community. The flaming candles flickered, lighting up faces, revealing joy, connection, and vulnerability. As the evening deepened, the call to gratitude resonated with unfathomable power. "What if," she said, her voice elevated, "we make it a habit? Let us pen a letter of gratitude each week, sharing it with the gathering. Let us witness how God moves through our thankfulness together." A tender cheer erupted, burgeoning into resolve and enthusiasm as every person considered the possibilities waiting to unfold. Margaret stood there, her heart alight with a sense of divine purpose. Together, they were more than simple villagers, they were vessels of hope, manifestations of grace, ready to spread the seeds of faith far and wide. As the gathering gradually came to a close, she looked to the stars above, shimmering and bright. A wave of peace washed over her, as if God smiled down. What comes next? She wondered softly, the echo of anticipation landing firmly in her spirit. Today's gathering was merely the start of the journey, a stepping stone toward a grand adventure that awaited them all. They had witnessed divine transformation, but the heart of their mission had only begun to pulse with vitality. Margaret exhaled deeply, enveloped in gratitude, knowing their stories, their faith, and their unity would resonate. With trembling hearts and radiant spirits, they were prepared to weave a tapestry of hope, casting a light that would span beyond the borders of Saint's End, bringing the divine into the hearts of many. And so she whispered a prayer, "O Lord, guide us. May our gratitude continue to blossom swiftly, and may your love flow through us as we embrace the journey ahead." The night embraced her words, echoing the invitation of their divine journey, one that promised miracles, transformation, and boundless grace. Now, beloved friends, this is your moment. You need to subscribe now to make sure you don't miss the next exclusive faith stories that light your path. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and spread the love that fuels our mission, and don't forget to comment your reactions and testimonies about this magnificent ending. Your voice adds to our tapestry of community. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who are waiting to see these powerful manifestations unfold. Don't wait even one more second to support our mission. True servants of God understand the importance of sharing this divine journey.